The cost of renting an apartment or a condo in Canada is coming down after years of hitting record highs. The report from rentals.ca found that July's national average rent was about $2.1 thousand. That's a 3.6% decrease from the same time last year. So what's behind dropping prices? We're joined by Giacomo Lattis with rentals.ca. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Anne-Marie. Thanks for having me on.
So your report found, in fact, that July was the 10th consecutive month where rental prices on the whole dropped. Why are we seeing prices fall now?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So every month at Rentals.ca, we put out this national rent report, and it's a little bit of a broken record, but we still think it's worth promoting that for 10 straight months now, average rents in Canada have been coming down. There's a variety of factors for this. We have seen a multi-decade high of supply come into the market, so there's just more choice of rental units for Canadians, which whenever there's more supply of any commodity, typically that means the cost comes down. But on top of that, we've seen many factors lead to demand coming down. You know, a major one of that is international population growth. In order to help bring costs down, we wanted to bring down supply across the country, and the federal government decided to limit the amount of international population growth, which has helped bring down demand, especially in the student rental season throughout the summer. But on top of that, we've seen really low turnover rates of Canadians who are not moving, and they are typically staying in their rental apartment longer. And because of that, prices have started to come down as Canadians are not able to afford the peak of asking rents that we saw in Canada. You know, at one point, a two-bedroom apartment in Vancouver was about $3,800 a month. When affordability across the country got really bad, we really saw Canadians unable to afford those rents. And with more supply, it has been coming down.
Your report looked at the largest retail price changes right across the country, so we wanted to share those this morning. In July,
Sure.
Nova Scotia saw the largest year-over-year decrease. That was then followed by British Columbia at 4.4%, Alberta at just under 4%, and Ontario at 3%. Meantime, Manitoba and Quebec saw smaller decreases, while the average rent prices increased only in Saskatchewan. So what factors are influencing these variations by province?
Yeah, so all Canada's provinces came down year over year, except for Saskatchewan, which was still up about 4%, even though Saskatchewan was by far the most affordable province. What really started to happen was Canada's major cities were the first to start coming down a couple years ago, the Vancouvers, the Torontos, and then it spread out to Calgary, Montreal, Edmonton. So what really happened was when these major metropolitan areas started to really become expensive, which, as we know, the housing crisis brought up the cost of housing and apartments, Canadians started to go to secondary markets to find more affordable rents. And then when the secondary markets inflated in asking rents, they started to go to tertiary markets. And that led to now the provincial averages of rents starting to come down. And the most expensive provinces, the Ontario and British Columbia, have seen the most prolonged decreases of asking rent, which, you know, is a good thing for renters, but it just shows how inflated these provinces once were. And now Canadians are really prioritizing affordability much more than accessibility. They are looking for these affordable rentals, and that's what we really need to see come in Canada.
Yeah, in part because it's hard to afford a down payment for a house, and rent is just a more palatable option. A lot of renters say, though, they are not feeling this drop in rental prices. A new rentals.ca survey found that 1 in 3 renters say they're spending more than half of their income on rent. And experts say, you know, typically used to say that it shouldn't be more than 30%, although, you know, that's been hard to achieve for a lot of people. So why is it that rents are coming down, but many people just don't seem to feel it? It feels like the same amount of money is still leaving your account.
Yeah, well, in the national average we asked about asking rent was down 3.6%, but just for some context, that's still 11% higher than it was just 2 years ago. You know, a province like Saskatchewan, for example, rents are 32% higher than they were 3 years ago. Alberta, it's about 28% higher. So what we did at rentals.ca was asked our users, how much are they paying for rent? And it was quite shocking. We saw that about 34% of renters are paying 50% of their net income on rent. And when you look at younger Canadians, ages 18 to 24, that goes up to 50% of them are paying half their income on asking rent. So rent has inflated quite a lot in the last 4 to 5 years. Really, when COVID started, we saw housing prices as well as rental prices increase. And because of that, rental prices are still inflated, even though they have been starting to come down. And when we ask Canadians what they're paying for rent, that 30% benchmark seems to be long in the past. We're now, you can expect young Canadians to spend about 50% of their net income. So what does that mean? Well, we really need to see affordability come more into play with new rental units. We need low-income housing in an abundance. You know, I did mention a lot of supply coming to the market, but it's not of low-income housing. And because of that, those who are seeing the most affordable rental units are now scooping them up so quickly that we're not seeing that low-income subset of Canadians really find rental units. So yes, 50% of the net income seems to be the new norm for many Canadians, especially 18 to 24.
Giacomo Lattis with rentals.ca. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Anne-Marie, thanks so much. Happy to be on.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.